Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me once again on The Legend of Zelda: The Order of Time. This is episode 4, The Lost Adventures. This is based off of, it's continuing off from episode 3, which was The Legend of Zelda cartoons. This is towards the end of the timeline, the one that I'm making, which is called The Order of Time, where we continue with more adventures. I call this the Lost Adventures because this was something Nintendo was not too proud about because Phillips really, well, whoever was the creators of this game really screwed this up in terms of how the Legend of Zelda was supposed to be produced. The execution was not that bad. The game isn't as bad as people say it is. It really isn't. That's a big exaggeration. It just had some terrible, terrible art, which was based on American, drawings and stuff like that. So it's really you take it with a grain of sand. And then you have to remember this was like in the 90s, so you can't compare that to then, and well then to now and all that other stuff. So it's a bunch of nonsense and whatever. I think it was a okay game. Definitely not one of Nintendo's proudest moments, obviously, but it is still a part of the canon timeline for The Legend of Zelda. So as I said, this is episode 4. This is based on the Lost Adventures. So in the cartoons, you saw, Ganon is just a wizard now in more of a like spiritual body. He doesn't have a physical, like he doesn't have Dragmire's body, physical like flesh body. It's more magical. So it could he's been a pain in their butt trying to take over Hyrule with these stupid hijinks and plans, and it continues here in the Lost Adventures, which is the ones found on the CDI. But these adventures are broken into 3 parts. You have Link, the Faces of Evil. Then you have Zelda Wand of Gamalon, and then you have the final one, which is Zelda's Adventure, Wand of Gamalon, and Link Faces of Evil. So um, there's an order to these 3, and it goes into this order: Link's Faces of Evil, Zelda Wand of Gamelon, and then Zelda's Adventure. It's actually in that the particular order. In this particular thing, Ganon is once again trying to do some stuff like Ganon attacks a particular place. I'm gonna let it play through. This is really just an overview. I'm not actually gonna be playing the game, unfortunately. Couldn't get the CDI to work or whatever the case may be. So we're gonna just be reviewing the game. So let's take a look at the beginning of this game now that we've already gone through that opening. So Anime Magic Incorporated production, which is terrible. So here you go, Link of the Faces of Evil. Oh man. 19 let, let's 1993 Phillips Interactive Media. Oh man. Link and Zelda are trademarks of Nintendo. Okay, so let's move forward into this to the game here. So what we're looking at is so this is the game menu. You can load, start, save, new game, end game, all that other stuff. So we're gonna kind of like move forward. So here's what's one of the big issues here. Let me give you guys some voices to this. Actually, no, let's skip that. We're not gonna do the voices. This is the map. These are all. This is a particular, a world in the world of Hyrule. Um, let's get some of these worlds over here. In fact, let me go back a little bit. I want to see some of the worlds that they name here because when I play Breath of the Wild, I'm literally gonna see if some of these places are even named the same. So, yeah, this is what Crater Cove, Garuna, Garona. Let's take a look. So the game is played. It's actually like the Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link. It's a side scroller, a lot more colorful. Definitely better graphics than the one on the NES. But just in comparison to other Zeldas, no. Link is a lot more mobile here. He can jump. He has a sword. He has a shield. All that other stuff. And Link, he can duck. He can actually block with his shield. Well, actually, he can block with his shield in all the other games as well. Here's a store that he goes in. He's talking to the guy here. Oh my goodness, you guys! Yes, yes, that's the animation. Like, come on, like really? But it's like it's not really as bad as the way people make it sound. So anyway, moving forward. So you get to shop a little bit better than you would do in any other stores in the other Zelda games. Like to be very honest with you. The interaction in shopping here is actually kind of better than most Zelda games today. Well, okay, let me take that back. But shortly after. So let's give the props where it's actually due. So we're scrolling ahead. So to give more context to the story, we're going to add some volume here because this will give you the context to the actual story of the actual game of what's actually happening, because we need this, because I'm only going to play the beginning and the end of both games. We're not going to go through the whole world and map and stuff like that. Perhaps later on in the future, when I actually go back to America, get my CDI to work, or get it repaired, or whatever the case may be, I can play the games for you guys. But this is just an overview. We have to get all three games done in this overview in roughly about 30 minutes. So here we go. We're gonna get the context of the story right now. So pretty much here is Link. This you don't want to hear the voices; it's terrible. But Ganon, pretty much he took over land of Korodai. Here comes a messenger. He's like, Ganon took over the land of Korodai. We need your help, Link. And the king is trying to figure out what he should do. And he says only Link can defeat Ganon. So that's what that letter says. So Link is like, okay, fine. He's like, we don't have time for you to get your items. Your sword will be to do. So Link is like, okay. And then Link's asking Zelda for a kiss. Zelda's like, you got to be kidding me. Anyway, he takes Link off. Link goes to this land where there's this place called the Faces of Evil, because Link is like, why are all these big different areas with all these faces? And he's explaining to them, these are the faces of evil, and you'd have to go there. And Link obviously has an adventure. He has what he has to do there, whatever. It's a very generic, straight to the point storyline. So we're gonna remember these names, guys, because it's important, because when we check Breath of the Wild, we're gonna find out if this is a part of the greater world of Hyrule. So we're definitely gonna see there. So as you can see, Link is gonna be fighting. That's like an enemy from part two. The little guys with the axes. So they definitely took that enemy from part two. See, Link can block with the actual shield. Yeah, attacks. Let's move a little bit forward. Those are Gomas in the game. So here's Link talking to one of the guys inside the place. He's like, yes, that is a Goma. Anyway, let's move forward. So in any event, that's the generic part of the game. Let's get to the ending part of this particular adventure. Okay, so here we are towards the end of the game. This is like the last stage of the game. So we're gonna run through this Ganon's lair. That's what's actually called. So in the land of Korodai, Ganon creates a layer here. So Link gets to shoot the lasers out of his sword as usual. Mm. I don't know what these flying things are. I've never seen these enemies before, but this is something that we need to take into consideration. What is that? Anyway, that's not even important. You have a nice inventory. That's just the same way it's set up. Like I said, man, the game is not that bad, man. Yes, the animation is horrendous, but the game is actually not that bad. Nintendo needs to really remake the game. Let's move forward with this. Whatever you call them. So, oh, this is terrible. I don't even know what that was. I'm not even gonna go through it. But like these animations they were bad in comparison, but not as bad. We've seen worse. We've all known that we've seen worse. For what the game stands for in terms of the gameplay, it wasn't that bad. The game was actually good. I'd actually like to play a remake of the game. Better engine, better animations on the graphics, but it's not that important. Let's move forward. Let's just get to the end and see what's going on here. So yeah, this is the small little tower that you have to climb. That portal right there leads you to Ganon. All right. Okay, so here Linky's about to go inside, and there's an animation that's gonna come up. It's terrible, but you have to deal with it. See, that's the spiritual essence of Ganon. You see the aura around him, and he tells Link, "Join me, and I will make your face the greatest in Korodai." So you see the different faces around the land. He wants to make that he's offering Link to join him, and he'll make one of those faces his. Link obviously is not going to take that up. This is the evil wizard Ganon version, not the mage Ganon. And this version of Ganon, as I told you guys in episodes um 2 and 3, which is the Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link, and then the Legend of Zelda cartoon, Ganon is in spiritual form. He's more like a wizard form, so or spiritual essence. It's not like yet the Ganon's Link had to fight, which were physical. So magical artifacts pretty much does Ganon in big time. So like Link is just gonna try to seal him in this book. So he throws a book at him. Well, in the game, when you play the game, he throws a book at him, and bam, Ganon's gone. One shot. So Ganon's like, no, don't put me in the dark pit. It burns. And then see, he gets locked up in the book, and then boom, he's sealed. So, but as we all know about Ganon, things doesn't seal Ganon long. It's temporary because of the Triforce of Power. Ganon has the ability to be able to break free at a later date. Here's Link now going to go into the final chamber where Zelda is in. Zelda is sleeping in there. Link has to go up there and pretty much hits this bell thing that's behind her, and it wakes her up. And I don't know why they have Zelda drawn like this, but like I said, this is based on the Zelda and Link from the cartoons. So now that you rescue Zelda, here comes this guy. Is like, thank you for rescuing the Korodai, and they take you back to Hyrule. And he says one bag of fart. Not even important. It's terrible. In terms of this animation, this could have been done so much better. He talks about how Link is the greatest, and then Link is like, whatever. He says to Zelda, "That's definitely worth a kiss." Zelda's like, "Get over yourself." And so it's the same Link. It's just like I said, drawn terrible. So this is pretty much the end of this game, and yeah, that's pretty much the end of the game. So this is the first of the Lost Adventures. As I said to you guys, this is an overview. I'm trying to show you guys how this links to the actual cartoon and Zelda 2: The Adventure of Zelda 2: The Adventures of Link. You guys have to realize these games all came out relatively in a certain span. So you had Zelda 2 at the end of the 80s, then the cartoons came out, which is 80s/90s, and then this game came out. So okay, so the next game in the Lost Adventures is Zelda Wand of Gamalon. So let's get this started here. So not shortly after Link literally just defeats Ganon and saves Korodai and seals him in the book, Zelda Wand of Gamelon begins. It's like this is terrible right here. They literally use the same exact engine, but instead of Link, it's Zelda that's doing the adventure. So, this is kind of cool because it's the first time you ever see Zelda in adventure. This would be great if Nintendo made these three games um brand new and saved it and put it on the 3DS. This would be real cool if they could do this. But anyway, the king finds out that Ganon has broken free, and he's coming to go do something, and the king is like, he's causing trouble in Hyrule. The Triforce of Wisdom saying that don't worry about the king is going to be able to defeat Ganon, XYZ, whatever the case may be. Don't worry about it. So the king is like, he's going to go take care of it this time. So the king actually gets up and does something. Link is trying to say, let me go do it, but he's talking about he's so hungry he can eat an Octorok. It's terrible. um yeah, here's the thing here. A month later, they haven't heard from the king after he's gone out there to go find out what's going on. Zelda's asking Link to help her go find her father. Link is like, sure, he's gonna do that. He's gonna bash Ganon and whatever to whatever. Later, anyway, Zelda wakes up Impa and asks Impa what's going on. How's everything going, whatever the case may be. And she's like, okay, whatever. So Zelda goes to the adventure to do it herself. Zelda now has a sword and shield. Zelda bodies these fools and goes through the adventure herself. Like, I really wanted to play this game, man, because it's one of the few times that Zelda actually, I think, yes, one of the few times Zelda actually got up and did something herself. Honestly. This is terrible. The stores are the same, the game engine the same, land same, art same, everything is the same. It's just that Zelda is the one doing the adventure herself. So she's going through this. She's fighting all these kind of demons and creatures and stuff like that. You're in people's houses and stuff like that. You get to talk to them. Let's take out this animation before we move to the next scene. What is this? What is this? Like, why would you like? Come on, like, oh, terrible, terrible, terrible. All right, so let's go to the ending of the game. Okay, so we're at the last stage right now. Generally speaking, yeah, where are we? Resong Palace. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. So here's a palace that Zelda's at. Um, Zelda can shoot the same beams that Link was shooting from his sword. That's what I'm saying. These guys didn't even take the actual time to literally try to like you know oh, this is terrible. So that Donkey Kong nonsense. They didn't even take the time to actually give the game its own, what's the word for this? Its own engine. Pow pow. In the event. So let's move ahead. So here's Impa with the Triforce. Notice Impa is very old, but this is not the same Impa from the beginning of the adventure. Just remember that. Keep that in mind, guys. Um, so let's move forward. We want to get straight to this, man. Like I said, I'm really upset that I couldn't get to play this. You get to duck and walk forward. Um, you get to throw bombs. There's a whole bunch of stuff like that. You got a nice inventory. It's pretty decent. Wait a minute here. Let me look back at something real quick. Okay, good. You come out here. So it here that Zelda gets to go into the door, and let me get ready to pause this because I want to explain this battle. So Zelda comes in and finds Ganon right here by using a lantern, and Ganon is afraid of the light because Ganon has to hide in his shadows and whatever the case may be. So Zelda finds him there, and Ganon's like, "Put out that light! How dare you walk in the light?" And he attacks Zelda with his thing. So now you have to fight Ganon up there, same type of Ganon, and see Zelda now gets the book, right? Oh no, the wand of Gamalon throws a wand on Ganon instead. I said the book. I'm sorry about that. And when she throws a wand of Gamalon, the wand creates like see she uses the wand on Ganon, and it creates a binding spell of Ganon, and then places Ganon in the book, and that's supposed to be able to hold Ganon a little bit longer than the original when Link had just thrown him inside the book before. So she gets the key. So see, she comes in the room, and there goes her father, and Zelda gets to rescue her father directly. The end. So Zelda actually rescues her own father. Her father was betrayed by this guy, him. Yeah, this guy was working for Ganon. It's a lot of people who ever always betrays the kings of Hyrule and whatnot with Ganon, but Ganon has a long history of doing that. The king of Hyrule has the guy arrested. There goes Zelda's mother. She's like, "Get out of the mirror!" And by breaking the mirror, Link is actually released because, like I said, there was a lot of things that was done. This is why Link was gone, missing in the game. Link got trapped in the mirror somehow, and now Link is released. Link has no idea what happened, and that's why Zelda has to be the one who has to do the adventure. That's a terrible animation of the laugh. It was horrible, and that's the end of that game. So as you guys can see, this is like literally, it's still the Zelda cartoon. It's still the adventures of Link, and now the adventures of Zelda and whatnot. So this is the end of the game. So let's see here. These are the credits, and let's move forward with the last game at hand. Okay, guys, so we are at the final adventure within the Lost Adventures. These are the CDI games. So we call them the Lost Ventures. In fact, it's funny because if Nintendo really wanted to remake them, the games, the Nintendo could create it called The Legend of Zelda: The Lost Adventures, or Zelda: The Lost Adventures, because it's no longer the Legend. Just call it Zelda: The Lost Adventures, and have these three games redone and whatnot. For you inspiring game designers out there looking for a design, hey, make a fan made version of it, throw it out there, make a better version of it based on the original Phillips CDi games, and see if Nintendo will take it up and make it available as a indie game, download for the virtual console or whatever, or just a resale for the 3DS or something like that, or bonus games in the next Zelda game that's coming out. But anyway, let's focus on the Lost Adventures right here. So here we are. This is like the intro to Zelda's Adventures. Kind of cool cliff looking thing there. I don't know if you guys remember like the Zelda 2 intro on the NES, but it was a sword. But in this one, this is Zelda's Adventure. So this is Zelda's specific adventure. Get some orange juice right here. So on some cliff in some tower is an old man who has some scrolls and stuff. My man has a telescope. He has a rune, a feathered pen. This was supposedly their best. Oh my goodness! I remember back in the days when they was making these type of games. Like people want to crap on Nintendo, but the reality is they weren't the only ones doing this. A lot of other people doing this. So here we go with a piece right here where the guy gets a letter or a scroll. He opens up a scroll and he has to read it. In fact, take a listen to this guy's voice. Tell me what you guys think. I'm gonna play this part with his voice. It goes.
And so it was that Ganon, Lord of Darkness, had taken over Ptolemaic. He had stolen the treasured celestial signs and captured Link. A brave warrior would have to be found to face this evil monster.
So, as you guys can see, that's the intro of the game. Pretty much, Ganon has taken over Ptolemaic. So, yet another place Ganon has taken over. So, first you had the in the first game, Link faces of evil, Corduroy, and then now he's taken over Ptolemaic. So it looks like Ganon can never really get Hyrule, but he always goes around these other places and he gets these other places, and they're just not strong enough to hold off. And it's always either Link or Zelda that has to do the job to free these places. So let's move forward in this game. He pretty much everything is live action in this game. They went a different direction with the third game. That's actually supposed to be Zelda. I don't know what they were thinking about right there. But this guy pretty much prepares Zelda by giving her her equipment and whatnot. This is what the game actually looks like. You play the game. It's an overhead view of the game. I guess they were trying to pay homage to the original since they did the side scroller with Link, like that was like the Adventures of Link. And you know, here the graphics in comparison to like what it's supposed to be were very good. Obviously, this is the better looking version of the three games, which is Zelda's Adventure. There's a lot of wandering around collecting items, the traditional Zelda engine, beating up enemies. You get the traditional hearts. There go your rupees. She still has the Let me see. Let me play this part right here. Because I remember this part, like to cross this gap here, you have to use you go to your inventory, you use your ladder. See, that's the ladder, the same ladder that's found in Zelda 1 for the NES, and you get to cross across it and that type of stuff. So that's really how the game was really played. Um, they'll show you some enemies that you have to whack. Actually, let's go to a better set of enemies. So there go the compass, a heart. Once you defeat some of the enemies, the bats all over the place. There go the rupees, whole lot. So then you have here goes and the way that there go treasure chests that you can get. Scrolling past. Bam. Let's just move forward. So here's one of the bosses in the game. From what I've learned from this game, the best way to fight these bosses is to stay above it, but there's no perspective to the game, so you have to be careful. If you're not careful, you will die. Like even though the boss is below you in perspective, if if the frame matches up with the frame, the boss can still hit you. So you have to be careful. You have to keep out of a certain range. Let's see here. So yeah, we're going back to fight again. This time defeats the boss, and you look at the rupee count go up, and so forth. So let's go to the second. Let's go to the last sequence of the game, which is really the end of the game where you get to fight Ganon. Here you wait. Let's see this scene first, real quick. It's a TriForce, a shard rune in which you come back and you gotta inform this guy about a bunch of stuff and blah blah blah. Like I said, I would rather have played this game and gone through it, the story mode, but it's an overview, and I want to try to keep this relatively short. I can't make this too long, and I got to get this out to you guys so that we can do our Zelda adventure tonight on for Breath of the Wild. So let's move forward. Okay, so after you complete this like that area, then Zelda goes for a shard, and then you can see the shadow hand of Ganon actually try to stop her. We'll just play this part so you guys can see it, bring you some type of context because then she's thrown into the underworld or the underworld, the underworld of the Hyrule, where she'll have to face off against Ganon in kind of a boss rush mode. Yeah.
Zelda, life is always one order more horrifying than you expect. The great evil Ganon spoiled your victory. Make haste. Do not let him out of your sight.
So as you can see, that's like the Stonehenge, area. Now they opened up the underworld where Ganon will be found and all this other stuff, and we continue the adventure of Zelda. So let's move forward here. Let's see here. So like here's a boss rush mode. You got to go through all of the bosses. Obviously, you're stronger here, so you could just whack these different bosses. You just finish bodying that boss over there. Body this boss over here. Actually, I know you guys want to kind of see what some of these bosses look like, so let me just give you a rundown of what these guys look like real quick. Yeah, here's this like clownish guy. Look, he's doing acrobats. He gets bopped. Uh, and let's go to this next boss scene here. Going through the inventory, fighting this little flying thing. He gets bopped. Yes, a boss rush mode to get to Ganon. It's kind of cool when you really think about it. These are the same pat traps that was in like Zelda 1. When right before you fought Ganon, it's circling around the one in the middle. Okay, let's move forward. The blob thing there, that's the water stage. I remember that nonsense. All right, get rid of that boss. Okay, now, so what we have here is, I think this is Ganon right here. So Ganon's gonna appear in his demon form. So there goes Ganon in his demon form. Notice he has his trident spear, just like in Zelda. I'll pause it for you guys so you guys can see it. Well, yeah, Ganon has his trident spear, like in Zelda 3, A Link to the Past, and actually other Zelda games. It's not, just Zelda 3. You know, Ganon has many different weapons, but yeah, let me pause it right there so you guys can get a clear see. So, you know, um, this game came out relatively in the same time that Zelda 3 A Link to the Past came out. These games are all out in like the early part of the 90s, and Zelda 3 had just came out. Zelda 3, I think, came out before the CDI games. The CDI games came out after Zelda, but yeah, so as you can see, Ganon is in his demonic form, the horns, it's the typical looking Ganon, and he has a spear in the whole 9 yards. So let's move forward with this. Oops, kind of jumped ahead. So now, well, we got to bring some context to this ending right here. So I want you guys to notice something. So keep in mind, no silver arrow, no sacred arrow, no master sword, right? Yet Zelda can beat Ganon without those things. This is how weak Ganon is. This is the era in how weak Ganon is. And right here, Zelda destroys Ganon, and that literally, it literally, see, Ganon can't hold his form, and he's literally spinning, spinning, and then he's thrown to the four winds. So Ganon is not destroyed. You cannot destroy Ganon's spiritual body, well, form, but it does destroy the dimension or the underworld that he was in. Now that he's been, I don't want to say eradicated, but now that he's been dispersed, so to speak, Ganon's been split to the four winds or whatever the case may be, and he can no longer hold his realm together. So Hyrule returns back to normal. As you can see, the green lush lands, everyone's happy. Well, actually, more the farm animal. There go Link. Link is there and he joins Zelda, which that's the second adventure. Link has been lazy and hasn't been around, but as in this age of Zelda, she's far more formidable. Here's a sage or whatever. It's funny because this could be Ramu himself right here. When you really think about it, who would this guy be? So and he does look like Ramu. Um, in any event, this is the end. There we go. Let's pause it right there. Okay, so I know it kind of sounds rushed, guys, but we did our best to get the CDI game, but I just wanted to bring some type of context to where in the storyline this is. Now, like I said, the Legend of Zelda, the CDI games, Link's Faces of Evil, Zelda's Wand of Gamalon, Zelda's Adventures, all take place after the cartoon. This is all part of the Adventures of Link series, which is the NES game, Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link, the cartoon, and the three CDI games. That's all the Adventures of Link. The legend is over. That's why none of them are called the Legend of Zelda, so to speak. um in the CDI games, obviously Zelda does most of the work. Link only he's involved in all three games, but she puts in more work than him. They fight Ganon three times, and they're able to defeat Ganon three times. Just like in the cartoon, even Zelda was actually able to hit Ganon with a boomerang and arrow and defeat Ganon. And just in the games, she's whacking Ganon with a sword and her wand and whatever the case may be, sealing him up with the binding golden chains and sealing him in books, because this is Ganon in his spiritual form. So Ganon is more manageable for both Zelda and Link to fight. Even the king went out and tried to hold Ganon down. This would never happen if Ganon actually had his body and whatnot, which is why when I made the second episode of the Order of Time, I called it the Origins of the Calamity, because this is what's happening with Ganon, and that's why this right after this game, 10,000 years into the future after the Lost Adventures, is Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is the complete end of the Zelda timeline, and I hope you guys enjoy this. Stay tuned for episode 5, The Legend of Zelda Order of Time, The Legend Reborn. For this particular segment, I know we're gonna do like a follow up. I'll do an entire stream where we can follow up and you guys can ask questions, have you guys call in. But for the most part, I need you guys to write down in the comments your questions and your thoughts about this entire segment and overview of episode 4, The Order of Time, The Lost Adventures. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are about this, especially the game and whatnot, because I think Nintendo needs to really remake these games. On that note, I think I did enough. So I really hope you guys really enjoy this segment, this overview of the Order of Time, the Lost Adventures, and I will see you guys in episode 5. Peace.